started a little bit. You might have gotten emails from me or met me in person, but my name is Ayla Ireland and I'm the Assistant Director for Student Success and Retention at the Graduate School. And my gracious host, Julia, has been so awesome to collaborate with us and put on this presentation for us about stress and anxiety. So Julia, I'm gonna throw it over to you whenever you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Can everybody hear me okay? I know we got Ayla all sorted. I'm gonna get started. So yeah, I was asked to come in and talk to you all, wonderful you can hear me, about stress and anxiety, some coping skills, and ways to practice self-care because grad school is hard, life is hard, and it's important that we take care of ourselves along the way. And we also, when need to reach out for help. So this is going to be a little bit interactive, so people will respond in the chat or raise their hands. That'd be really helpful. Make it go a little bit more quicker and more exciting. We'll talk a little bit about mental health. So what is mental health, right? We say it's the present state of mental being and treatment, and it's often associated with like the clinical or diagnostic terms. So at the counseling center, we take obviously a clinical approach. We don't do as much diagnosing. We don't really do any formal diagnosing, but we also take a mental wellness approach, which is this holistic attempt to incorporate all different angles of your health and well-being. So it considers emotions and also other dimensions of wellness that would impact your daily functioning. And we'll talk more about what those dimensions are. So I'm going to have you respond in the chat about some areas in your life that would be affected by stress.
You can throw one out there. How about, oh yeah, that's a good one. From the chat, we have balancing classes, work, and family.
Professional, your physical health, I like that, yep.
Emotional regulation.
Yeah. Poor sleep, unable to complete writing tasks. Yeah, so like your schoolwork, your job, poor sleep, anger, depression, yep. Yeah, all of these things. So yeah, some areas of impairment. Oh, social relationships. Some areas of impairment that are affected by stress, concentration, your academic functioning, your work functioning, sleep, eating. I don't think anybody said substance use, but that can be a big, clear sign that you're being affected by stress, increase in substance use. Your social relationships and your social support, and then the safety concerns when you're feeling hopeless, helpless, suicidal, engaging or thinking about self-harm or harm to others. And stress in general is unavoidable. It can be motivating. It's normal. And yet when it becomes distressing, where these things are, you're no longer just drinking on the weekends, but maybe you're also drinking during the week, or that one night of staying up really late to study is now multiple nights of you're not sleeping, you're not eating, and you didn't just get a poor grade on one paper, but a lot of your papers are coming back with a lot of errors. That's when you're teetering into more distress, or they would call that like toxic stress. I also want to talk about signs of depression, and I'm going to preface this with saying that signs of depression and signs of anxiety don't necessarily mean that you are diagnosed with depression or anxiety. Sometimes TikTok will like to tell you otherwise, but that's not necessarily the case. People will experience sadness and hopelessness and not necessarily be clinically depressed. That being said, when you do start noticing signs of depression, it is important that you reach out for support. Some other signs of depression are that loss of interest in the things that you enjoy, or you're not engaging with your friends as much or your family, major appetite changes. So coping with eating more, coping with eating less, trouble with sleeping. So maybe you're sleeping too much or too little, the feeling of fatigue or loss of energy, things that maybe used to bring you joy no longer do, and they just tire you out, feeling worthless or guilty. Feeling like a burden can sometimes be a sign of depression. It's not worth me bringing this up to them. I'm not worth that, or it would just be another burden for them. Trouble concentrating and suicidal thoughts. also talk about signs of anxiety. And there's, I would say, some anxiety that kind of makes sense, right? Proportional to the experience. People get anxiety when they have to present or before a big test, but signs of anxiety that can be a little bit more than just proportional to the experience or the event would be excessive worrying almost daily over things that you can't control, and you can't control the worry. Easily fatigued. We don't notice how much we've been carrying anxiety in our bodies and in our minds. And then we crash at the end of the day, that feeling like, I can't do any more. This day wasn't any more challenging than it was, 2 weeks ago. That's maybe a sign of anxiety or worry. Difficulty concentrating. So the task at hand, you know that you know the material, and yet you're going through all of the other things that you have to do on your to-do list. Irritable, cranky. When we're tired, when we're anxious, we get cranky. It's common and normal. The muscle tension, headaches, stomach aches, all these somatic symptoms are signs of anxiety, depression, of toxic stress. Like I said, you don't always notice that your stomach hurts until you have a minute to breathe, and then you realize, wow, like I've been carrying a knot in my stomach, or my shoulders have been up to my ears. And my neck hurts. Oh, it's because I'm really anxious. I need to do some deep breathing. And then also sleep disturbance. I think big sign of when it's time to get help is if you're starting to wake up anxious, or you wake up in the middle of the night in a panic. It's a sign that there's probably something worth talking about with a professional. So again, in the chat, I'm going to have you all respond to how you cope with stress, signs of anxiety, signs of depression, and what you do to cope with that. Deep breaths, exercise. Yeah. Walking, praying, I like that. Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about the 8 dimensions of wellness, and one of them is the spiritual wellness and relying on your faith or your connectedness to something greater than you. Journaling, that's a good one. Sit and drink water, pray to God, take some time off. Yeah, if you have the ability in your schedule to take some time off, do so. Oh, I like this one. Planning on how to proceed. Yeah. Push it away to the back corner of your mind so you can get things done. Well, yes, and at what point do you allow it to come to the forefront of your mind and address it? So we'll touch on a couple of things. I generally do, thankfully. Yeah. So there's a coping skill that talks about, this anxiety, that worry that you have, and being able to have a little box in the back of your brain, maybe it's a treasure chest or whatever it may be, and you put your worry in there. So if it's, noon and you really need to be studying, and the thought of the anxiety of something going on with a friend is popping up. Okay, I'm going to put this worry into that box. And today at 5 o'clock is my time where I open that box and I allow myself to cry, or I have my schedule where I'm going to go to church or temple or the Wilson Center or somewhere in nature where I'll allow myself to really think a little bit more deeply about what's worrying me. Or maybe you have that box and you have a scheduled time to open it every 2 weeks at the counseling center, where you meet with your counselor and you're like, hey, this is what's been adding up inside of my box, and this is what I really need to talk about and process. I'm looking through your chat again. I think the evaluate what's wrong, then planning how to proceed, that takes mindfulness and awareness of, oh, okay, I have to actually think about what's wrong. I was giving the example the other day, you may be sitting and trying to get some work done, and it's 6 o'clock, and you're like, why can I not just sit still and get this work done? That takes you have to pause for a second. Well, it's dinner time, right? Maybe you haven't eaten, maybe you usually eat at 6 o'clock, and you didn't today, and now you're sitting and trying to get this done, and now you have to really plan how to proceed, right? Like, what takes priority in this moment? Is it getting my paper done, even though I'm just sitting here and I'm reading the same sentence over and over again, and I'm not really coming up with any new ideas? Or is it taking a 30-minute break and heading to Wells and getting something to eat, or heading to Hilltop, getting something to eat, and then coming back and actually being able to focus on what's in front of me. So there's some coping skills. We can talk about them a bit more towards the end of the presentation and possibly practice some of them. Does anybody know of any specific deep breathing exercises? We can write them in the chat. Box breathing, yep. Rub my chest, yeah. There are pressure points all throughout our body. So like rubbing your heart chakra, rubbing the knot out and the tension out of your chest. Paying attention to the pressure points. Okay, butterfly hug. So I'll explain a couple of them. So the box breathing, you can also do it with counting as well. So it's literally drawing a box, right? Drawing the square, inhale, exhale. And on the horizontal, you'll inhale. On the vertical, you exhale. And you can do this, while you're sitting in class and drawing the square on your paper, and nobody has to know that you're inhaling on the horizontal and exhaling on the vertical, or vice versa. The butterfly hug may be a little bit more obvious, maybe not. But literally giving yourself a nice tight squeeze. There's a deep breath in that, but then there's also that sensory component, right, of some pressure. You just have to kind of visualize and feel the pressure from your hands. Other deep breathing exercises include the figure 8 breathing, which is similar to box breathing. So the figure 8 or the infinity sign. So you can inhale on one side, exhale on the other, inhale and exhale. Actually drawing it or doing with your hands, getting your eyes to move back and forth. It's bilateral stimulation, so that can be really regulating. So if you notice, okay, like my heart's really racing, I'm really struggling to be present, I'm really up in my own thoughts, that bilateral stimulation in your brain. That's also by walking, tapping while deep breathing, alternating that tapping. You can do that, or tapping on your thighs. I'm just curious in the chat, have people heard of some of these before, aside from what was written? Oh, I'll take that. We've learned something new. All right, 5 senses grounding. I've gotten a lot of feedback from students that this is one of the ones they are most familiar with. Again, I think they have TikTok to thank for that. Yeah, so one of the 5 senses grounding exercises is going through all of them and doing 5 things that you can see, 4 that you can touch, 3 that you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. So you can move those numbers around. I usually do 5 you can see because that's easiest for me, is to see 5 things, and 1 you can taste because it's kind of hard to taste more than one thing. And then the others, if you can't remember, you can move them all around. That gets you a little bit out of your thoughts and more into your body and awareness of your surroundings. Okay, so like, what is it that I'm actually seeing in front of me right now? I'm seeing the computer screen, it's blue. I'm seeing my coffee mug. Certain scents can be really soothing, so lavender, putting a piece of gum in your mouth, a lemon. Some people like that shock to the system, right, of tasting something really, really sour, or minty. Minty is known to help settle the stomach a bit. Like if you're anxious and you've got this big tight knot in your stomach, okay, how can I engage my 5 senses so that I can calm the thoughts and calm the knot in my stomach? Additionally, 5 senses using your sight, play I Spy with yourself. You can pick a color, look around the room. Okay, I'm looking for blue. My screen right in front of me has a lot of blue things. My scissors are blue over here. You can just keep doing that. You can also describe something as if you're describing it to somebody who can't see it. For hearing, music obviously helps a lot. So that if you put on a song, something soothing, or that is soothing to you, and pick one instrument or one sound in that song and try and follow it. So maybe you're listening to the piano in the song or the drums and focusing your attention on just that instrument within the song. Helps focus your brain instead of spiraling. Progressive muscle relaxation also incorporates the body. I suggest doing it before bed because it puts you right to sleep. You start with increments, so from the top of your head down to your feet, or from your feet to the top of your head. Then you tighten certain muscles. You tighten all the muscles in your face. I'm not going to scrunch my face up for you because nobody wants to see that. And your jaw, your nose, your ears, and then you take a deep breath in and let it all go. And you work your way down. So in increments, maybe the next increment is your shoulders. You tighten your shoulders, bring your arms in as tense as you can go. And then take a deep breath and you relax them. And some people don't make it all the way to their feet because they're falling asleep. If you make it all the way, I suggest doing a body scan after. Okay, where am I still carrying tension? I feel like my back has been really, tight today, my shoulders. I'm going to do some deep breathing and send some energy to the back. Got a Q&A. What are ways we can relax our jaws? Right? Yeah, that's one place we carry a lot of stress. Using that 5 senses of grounding, progressive muscle relaxation, clench your jaw, and then stretch it out. Move your jaw around. If you don't have any medical conditions, I mean, obviously I want you to take those into consideration, but if you're noticing that your jaw is sore, clench it and release. Also be aware, where's your tongue in your mouth? Has your tongue been pushed at the roof of your mouth all day? Intense? Is it resting softly in your mouth, just against the back of your teeth? Like I said, at the end, I like to go back and pay attention to where I'm still stressed. So if I notice that my jaw is still super tight, paying attention again, where's my tongue? How is there space between my teeth? It's a lot of mindfulness. Ways to slow down. Increased heart rate. Breathing. So the breathing exercises that we just talked about can slow down your heart. There's also the 5, 4, 6 breathing. You can inhale for 5, hold it for 4, exhale for 6 seconds. Holding your breath just that little bit in there will help regulate your heart rate. Using 5 senses grounding, so your sense of touch. Cold water can be very regulating. So if you notice that your heart rate is going super fast, you can't always submerge your face in cold water. That helps. But also just running your wrists under cold water. If you're really, really cold, use warm water. If you're really hot and you're sweating from anxiety, you use cold water and you can run that on your wrists and do your deep breathing at the same time. Yeah, holding your tongue pressed. Yeah, we don't always realize that we're doing that, and it's kind of an interesting muscle to pay attention to. I also think of ears during progressive muscle relaxation. I don't know if everybody can wiggle their ears, but feeling tense in your jaw and your ears, like they're pinned back, right? Like allowing the muscles in your face and in your ears to relax. Other places, common places, is your stomach. Engaging with your glutes and your stomach, carry a lot of tension. So number 4, staying organized and prioritizing your needs. Those are coping skills for some. For others, it would be a lot more stressful to make a to-do list and then look at all the things that they have to do on their to-do list. So staying organized, staying on top of it, I think that's more like self-care. Prioritizing your needs is more of, okay, I don't necessarily need to create a to-do list of all the things that I need to do for my classes or for work, but what do I need to do for my mental health right now, for prioritizing my needs to cope with the anxiety that I'm feeling? Maybe that means the first thing is I need to call my mom because I haven't talked to her in a while, and that would really help me to feel calm. And the next thing is I'm gonna, as I walk out of the library to go make that phone call, I need to put on some music. And I really would like to get a cold glass of water because that would really help me regulate. So those are the types of prioritizing your needs. That can also be helpful, not just, I'm going to make this to-do list. That way I know that this class is expecting this and this colleague is expecting that. And then number 6, social media and media literacy. Video games, Discord, Instagram, TikTok. It's a lot of screen time. So I'm going to ask you in the chat, when do you know that you need a social media or screen break? My eyes are sore. Yeah. Yeah, it's a clear, like, physical reaction of like, oh, wow, okay. It is time to close my eyes. When it stops being enjoyable, yeah. I love that people are now calling it like doom scrolling though. Just, when I stop seeing friends updates and just see ads. Yeah, they're always listening. Neck spasms. Okay, so a lot of like physical responses, like my eyes, my neck. I'm gonna circle back to the when it stops being enjoyable. That takes the mindfulness, right? Of like, okay, I'm scrolling and I'm feeling more fear of missing out than inspired, or the idea that I want to like reach out to my friend and see how their trip is going, or how last night went on that date. Like if I'm just scrolling and I'm like, oh wow, I really wish that I was doing this or doing that. That's how I know that I need to get off the phone, because now I just have FOMO. Yeah, when I find myself scrolling without making the conscious decision to go on Instagram. Yeah, if I forgot that I even got on here, like why did I get on my phone to begin with? Probably a sign that you could put the phone down. Yeah. We'll talk. Oh, this one is not formatted the way that I want it to be. That's my bad. So the 8 dimensions of wellness is something that the Student Wellness Resource Center, so SWELL, I'm going to keep calling it, really promotes. They are located in the Union, 145. I'm going to plug them again at the end of this because I think that they're a really great resource. So I'm going to ask you all to come up with some physical ways that you practice self-care. Walk. What do you do for exercise? I want specifics. Oh, stretches, yep. Yeah, like that's more my pace of exercising. I'm not somebody who's going to go to the gym and lift heavy weights, but some stretches and Pilates sounds about right. Eat fruits or nuts. Oh, and I see the gut, somebody said intense workout, like, right. So exercise means different things to different people. Drink water, eat fruits or nuts. It's important to be very conscious of finding foods that make you feel nourished, and whether that's nourished because that food gave you energy, or nourished like in your soul, like after having a bowl of ice cream. Getting outside with your dog. Yeah. That's physical, environmental, that's social, it's emotional. Pets are amazing, absolutely. So social. Sweat, sauna, barefoot walking. Barefoot walking, that's nice. That's the environmental aspect. So for social, what are some clubs that you all are engaged in? Oh, All right, before you answer that, I'll touch on what somebody brought to the chat. So junk and sweets may increase these problems, and that's what you feel. Yeah, if for you, you feel like eating sweets is going to make you feel worse, don't eat sweets. I'm somebody who, if I don't have my Dove chocolate at lunch, you're not going to want to be around me in the afternoon. That nourishes my soul. Is it nourishing my body? Probably not. It's just my taste buds, but it takes the edge off, and moderation, right? Everything in moderation. So then we'll continue to move on to the social. So attending events and clubs, are you all aware, just give me a yes or no in the chat, of campus groups? I'm so sad. So campus groups is an app you can download on your phone. You can also look it up online, using your email. Oh my gosh. is a really good way to get involved with things on campus. People will post different events and club meetings. ODI posts things on there about, whatever events they have going on, some lunch and learns. Student wellness will post about their programs. Counseling center, the, few and far between larger events that we host, we put on campus groups. It's called, right. Campus groups. If you all hang out towards the end, I'll make a note to actually find the website and send it to you all. I will say some things are, oh, thank you, Ayla. I didn't realize I'd direct message that. Some things are more aimed at Greek life, some things are aimed at different undergrad student groups, but there's a lot that is just generally for the public. There's information about like the salon series, trying to think of what it's called, salon series that the library hosts on there. The whole point is getting the awareness and the marketing out that these things are going on campus in Orono, in Old Town, so that you can find friends or at least peers with similar interests and values. And that is a huge part of self-care, right? Having social networks and social groups that refill your cup and don't just drain your cup are really important. And you may really love the people that are in your cohort, and you also love Frisbee, and nobody in your cohort wants that. And that would be another way for you to get physical, get outside, and find some other social connections where you can shift gears. You don't have to be talking about school or work, but you can talk about, ultimate Frisbee. Let's do emotional. So emotional self-care. Somebody said journaling before. I love to hear it. Absolutely, journaling, with giving yourself space and time to cry is emotional self-care. Confiding in friends or family, learning how to regulate your emotions. Ooh, talking to family. Yeah. So if you notice that you are easily thrown off, or sometimes or you're a little bit more thrown off than others, depending on stress, talking to somebody about that. You're talking to anyone, yeah, talking to professionals. Learning about your emotions, right? Like emotional intelligence is important, and communication, how to communicate with people in a way that's going to help you resolve conflict instead of escalate the conflict. That I think plays a lot into our emotional regulation and the emotional results of a conflict. Yeah, so you're not alone, not being alone. So if you're experiencing an intense emotion, reach out. Not letting it in negative emotions overpower. Yeah. Yeah, the balance between acknowledging that you're maybe experiencing something that is uncomfortable and allowing yourself to process that, and then not wallow in it. So thinking about the positives, grounding yourself in the moment, what's in front of you, reaching out to friends or people who inspire you or lift you up. Financial self-care is a big one for college students, young adults, everybody, right? Like now that you are old enough to sign your rent check, to sign student loans, to buy a car or purchase something that is going to require you to make payments on it, requires financial literacy. So student wellness can help with that. The Career Center can help with that. Financial aid office can help with that. They can help you figure out how do I budget for the month? How do I create a savings account? What's the best type of savings account to invest in, or to, invest my money in? Making healthy financial decisions. So if you're about to sign a loan, to take out a loan, maybe it's important that you know what an interest rate means. Writing down your expenses and spending accordingly. Yeah. Financial self-care is also knowing when you can splurge a little bit. If you're having a really tough week and you know that an iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts is really just what's gonna get you through that Wednesday, if you have those $4, you can spend $4. Sad that a nice coffee is $4, but here we are. And educating yourself about financial options. So knowing different types of credit, different types of credit cards, different types of loans that you can take out. These are all ways that you can practice financial self-care. And I'm certain that everybody in this room wants to set themselves up for security at some point. Intellectual wellness is reading for knowledge and pleasure. It's using your brain in a way that maybe you don't get to during your 8 to 5. And attending and participating in clubs and classes that challenge you, but in a way that feels refreshing and refueling and not draining. I'm sure as grad students, you don't get a lot of time to read for pleasure or learn about new things. Participating in class, yeah. That sparked something new in me, is like make friends with the people in your class. You can learn from them. If you're tired of reading the books, you still have to read the books, but talk with your peers, talk with your colleagues, have intellectual conversations that are stimulating and not exhausting. Because remember, we're talking about self-care. So now to the spiritual, we're getting to the parts of the slide where the L has fallen off the end of my words and they're kind of floating in there somewhere. So feeling connected to something bigger than yourself. We call it spiritual, not religious or not faith-based, because some people are really religious and some people aren't at all. And you can still be connected to something bigger than yourself or greater than yourself, like nature or just the world in general, space in general. And knowing that there are other people in the world right now who are experiencing stress, who are experiencing joy, who are experiencing loneliness, and feeling like you're not alone in it all. And that's not to say that your situation isn't unique, because what you're going through, I'm sure, the details are only applied to you, and yet somewhere in the world, somebody is also feeling lonely. Are people aware of the Wilson Center? Give me a quick yes or no in the chat if you are aware of the Wilson Center. No? Okay. So the Wilson Center is not on campus, but it is right on College Ave. It's a interfaith center where people of all different faiths or lack thereof can go and engage in conversations. There's programming, there's meals. Their website will tell you more about it, the link to their website. They put on a lot of programs for pretty much everybody. It's called the Wilson Center. So right on College Ave. I'd really encourage you can follow them on Instagram. You can search them on the Maine website. If you're interested in just kind of expanding that dimension of yourself. I also will be doing an event there in November with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day. We do the event there. It's usually small, it's quiet, it's peaceful. It's a place for people to connect who have experienced loss due to suicide. Thank you for putting that in the chat. We'll also talk about occupational self-care, which, yes, in general is work-life balance, but it's also creating a schedule so that you can have work-life balance. It's important to put into your schedule that on Wednesdays, there's an exercise class that you want to take, or Saturday, there's something going on in Orono that you would really like to go to. It's these reminders to engage in things other than just work and other than just play. It's that setting time aside for other dimensions. It's also about improving your professional side. So accessing the Career Center and learning about, your Myers-Briggs assessment. So your personality, what types of jobs and career assessments are available to you there and that are available after you graduate. And then lastly, there is the environmental aspect of self-care, which is the environment, nature, and then also surrounding yourself with people that stimulate you, that support you, that encourage you, that fill you up. And making a difference for our planet. So there's the Green Campus Initiative, which can help you get connected with nature in and around Orono. There are plenty of trails on campus. There's Maine Bound, where you can go climbing and learn how to climb. The Bodwell Center I just saw recently is having an event. The Bodwell Center is a center for volunteerism, and they're doing an event at Fields Pond, which is in Brewer. And it's giving back to the environment. It's a volunteer effort to, I guess, clean it up, and they'll tell you more about it. But being connected to nature can be pretty spiritual as well, and fresh air doesn't hurt. You can also rent equipment from Maine Bound, from the rec center. So in the summer months, if you want to go paddling down Stillwater River, you can rent a paddleboard from the steam plant lot. Or if you want cross-country skis, reach out to Maine Bound or the rec center and see about renting some of those for a day to get out on a trail. Thank you. So I'm going to plug the counseling center. There are myths going around that we aren't available to grad students, or that we're going to bill your insurance, or that there's limited sessions, like that will only meet 4 to 6 sessions, so people don't want to come in. So I'm here to debunk those myths. We are free. We're not going to bill you insurance. You're not going to get a bill on your tuition, with a little note that says you came here. Nope. We are confidential. So we can't talk to your professors. We won't talk to your PIs. We're not going to talk to Ayla unless you sign a release. So if there's somebody that you would like us to talk to, you let us know. We sign a release and we can get you linked up with other services or talk with other people on campus. People usually do get what they need in 4 to 6 sessions. We like to have a goal and something that we're working towards. And sometimes it goes longer. And sometimes it's shorter. Sometimes you're just adjusting to a new environment and you really need to come in and process what's going on for you. Other times you may have some trauma that you'd like to process. Either way, we're going to talk about setting goals and figuring out how the counseling center can meet your needs. We also do referrals. So if we can't help you, we will try and find somebody who can. We do outreach for things like this. So if you have a club or you're involved with an organization on campus and you think it would be helpful for the counseling center to come and do a presentation like this, or something a little bit more specific, or if you have an idea that the counseling center could, be a part of, you can reach out to us on our website. You can reach out to me directly. I am the coordinator for outreach and education. So I also help with trainings. Yep. I don't have SWELLs on here. Swell, I will tell you about them. It's Student Wellness Resource Center, room 145 in the Union. They have massage chairs, which, they're free. Why not go get a massage on your time off? You can go get a massage, you can go upstairs, get something to eat. You can go hang out and color. They do programs with beading. They have coloring sheets. They have video games. Kevin and Gwen are the professional staff there. They're lovely and very easy to connect with and talk to, and can also connect you with other services. They also help with substance use concerns, as does the counseling center, but Swell also works on some of those issues. They can also help you get connected with Title IX. If there was an assault, they work closely with them. And they also work closely with the Center for Student Involvement, so the people who run campus groups. Are there any questions about the counseling center or anything that I just said in general? You can put them in the questions or the chat.
And we did add a bunch of links to the chat at the end, just so they're all together. in case you need it. I think the Wellness Center also has a calendar of events. I don't know if it's still active, but I know they had it for a while. They have recurring meetings for different things if you're interested in something specific. And then I'm just gonna reiterate, because I've plugged this again this morning too, but counseling center on campus is free. They will take grad students, they'll take undergrad students, as long as they're in the state of Maine, they will see you. And there's no wait list.
There's no wait list. We usually get people in 2 weeks usually, sometimes less. We have urgent care slots available. So if you are having thoughts of suicide, thoughts of hurting others, you're extremely concerned about your substance use, you're hearing or seeing things, or you've just experienced a traumatic event, you can call or you can literally walk over and we can get you in same day. You can also call us to make an appointment. That's the best way to get an appointment. Pam is lovely. She'll schedule you with one of our therapists. You can check us out on our website and you can make a request if you have a certain provider that you want to see. It's not guaranteed that you'll get in with them, but it doesn't hurt to see familiar, faces on there and then feel a little bit more familiar with what you're about to get into when you walk into the counseling center. There's something else I was going to say about that, but yeah, free is probably like the biggest bait for people to get here. They're like, oh, I'm probably never gonna have free counseling again in my life. So now might be the time.
And I heard that you guys can do like telehealth if it's necessary, but the student has to be in the state of Maine, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. I also want to say on our, if I click this, I don't know if it will bring me there and you'll be able to see it. Are you able to see the website that I just brought us to? Or are you still on the presentation?
Still on the presentation. At least I am still on the presentation.
Okay, I'm going based on what you're going on because I think, okay. Now you should be able to see the website. So on this website, we have all these different topics that you can check out, some resources, some campus resources. Oh, this is, oh. This is our website. It's pretty similar, stress and anxiety. We have some of the coping skills that we just talked about are written here. So if I said them too quickly or you'd like to use them at a later date, they're all here. We also have audios. So that progressive muscle relaxation that we talked about, guided imagery, and then an alternative nostril breathing. Some breathing exercises on our website. And then if you were interested in meeting us, here we all are. And the last thing I'll show you, there is the urgent care appointments, and then outreach if you're involved in something on campus and you wanted us to attend. You can submit a request form. Follow us on Instagram, check out Swell. And then there's just some articles and handouts that probably haven't been updated in a while, but are still probably relevant if you're interested in intellectual wellness. That is all that I have for you today. Still taking any questions?
Not just yet. I did want to let everyone know that if something comes up after this and you think of it, please feel free to send me an email and I can help you answer the question or find something. I'll volunteer your email for you, but I'm assuming if there's a question, students can reach out and just ask.
I just put in the chat the link to campus groups. I believe at the top there, if you're having any issues, you can reach out to the Center for Student Involvement. You should just be able to use your Maine EDU login.
Well, if there are no more questions, I'll wait a few more seconds, but I haven't seen any pop up. Julia, I just want to thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
delivering this and putting it together for us. This has been great. I learned something new too. So I was very happy to be part of it, and I'm sure you'll hear from me again to bring some more of these events to grad students and get the word out there, because it seems like mental health is something that not only is important, but students want it and need it and are not sure how to find it, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and feel free, we have a meditation room here, so students, if they want to drop in, we've got coffee, snacks, and a meditation room. So even if you're not interested in counseling, the counseling center is still open to everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you everybody else for coming, and hopefully we'll see you soon. In a great and a positive mood. Thanks so
Happy
much.
Friday. Yep.